African empires, 2 words, that is all it takes. 2 words that most history books skip completely. 2 words that represent some of the most extraordinary civilizations ever built on this earth. And 2 words that are about to change everything you thought you knew about human history. Stay right here, because what you are about to hear is not opinion. It is documented fact, archaeological evidence, and it is more extraordinary than anything you were ever taught in school, ever. Let us start with a number that will stop you completely. $400 billion. That is the estimated net worth of the single wealthiest human being who has ever lived on this planet. Not a tech billionaire, not an oil king, not anyone alive today. The richest person in all of recorded human history was an African king named Mansa Musa, and he ruled the Mali Empire in West Africa in the 14th century. The Mali Empire itself was not just the largest empire in Africa. It was the largest empire in the entire world, stretching across 1.2 million square kilometers with 40 million people living under one king. Half the entire population of the medieval world, under one African ruler. In 1324, Mansa Musa made a religious pilgrimage to Mecca. He traveled with 60,000 people and 80 camels, each carrying hundreds of pounds of solid gold. As he passed through Egypt, he gave away so much gold so freely that he single-handedly caused the Egyptian gold market to collapse. The price of gold dropped so severely it took 12 full years for the Egyptian economy to fully recover. From one man passing through with too much wealth than too generous a spirit, European cartographers began drawing his image on their maps of Africa. A powerful African king on a golden throne so extraordinary that Europeans felt they needed to mark exactly where he lived so the world would know. But the Mali Empire was about far more than gold. Inside the empire sat the city of Timbuktu, one of the greatest intellectual centers in the history of human civilization. The University of Sankore enrolled 25,000 students at a time, making it one of the largest universities in the medieval world. Oxford University in England is celebrated as one of the oldest universities. The University of Sankore was functioning around the same period. Scholars came from across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe to study astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and law. From African professors considered among the finest minds of their era. Over 700,000 manuscripts were written and preserved in Timbuktu. 700,000. Covering every field of human knowledge imaginable. Many of those manuscripts still exist today in libraries and private collections across Mali. And while all of this was happening in the West, an entirely different African civilization was building one of the most sophisticated international trading empires the medieval world had ever seen. The Swahili Coast city-states of Kilwa, Mombasa, Malindi, and Zanzibar stretched down the entire eastern coastline of Africa. These were not small fishing villages. They were sophisticated stone-built cities with multi-story buildings, intricate carved wooden doorways, running water systems, and populations in the tens of thousands. They were trading directly with China, India, Arabia, and Persia centuries before other civilizations established similar connections. Chinese porcelain from the Song dynasty has been physically excavated from the ruins of Kilwa. Indian cotton and Persian glass have been found buried in Mombasa. The evidence is concrete, physical, and impossible to dispute. When Ibn Battuta, the greatest traveler of the medieval world, visited Kilwa in 1331, he recorded in his famous travel diary that it was among the most beautiful and well-constructed cities he had ever seen in all his years of traveling across 3 continents. Now let us talk about the African kingdom that Rome considered its equal. In the highlands of Ethiopia, the kingdom of Aksum was one of the most powerful states in the ancient world. A Roman historian writing in the 3rd century AD placed Aksum alongside Rome, Persia, and China as one of the 4 greatest kingdoms on earth. Not one of the greatest African kingdoms. One of the 4 greatest kingdoms anywhere on earth. Aksum controlled the Red Sea trade routes connecting the Mediterranean world to India and Arabia. Every merchant ship traveling between Rome and India passed through waters that Aksum controlled. The Aksumites built towering granite obelisks from single pieces of solid stone, some standing over 30 meters tall with extraordinary precision. These monuments still stand in Ethiopia today. You can visit them right now. And in the 4th century AD, Aksum became one of the earliest states in the entire world to officially adopt Christianity as a state religion. Before most of Europe, before Rome itself made that declaration. And now the architectural achievement that still astonishes engineers today. Great Zimbabwe. A vast stone city built in what is today Zimbabwe between the 11th and 15th centuries. The Great enclosure at its heart features a wall 250 meters long, 10 meters high and 5 meters thick at its base, built from 900,000 individually hand-cut granite blocks, every block shaped by hand, every block placed by hand, and not a single drop of cement or mortar used anywhere in the entire construction. The stones were cut and fitted with such extraordinary precision that the walls have stood for nearly 1,000 years. And a thin blade still cannot be inserted between the stones anywhere along their length. When 19th century researchers first documented Great Zimbabwe, they struggled to explain its sophistication and proposed various alternative theories attributing it to outside builders. But decades of rigorous archaeological investigation, carbon dating, linguistic research, and the consistent historical testimony of the local Shona people confirmed what the evidence had always indicated. The Shona people built it. It was the capital of a powerful trading empire connected to the entire medieval world. Gold, ivory, and copper flowed through Great Zimbabwe, linking it to trade routes that reached all the way to China. 5 empires. The Mali Empire, whose king was so wealthy he crashed the national economy by being too generous on a journey. The Swahili Coast, whose merchants maintained direct trade with China 1,000 years ago. The Kingdom of Aksum, which Rome ranked as its equal. And Great Zimbabwe, whose builders achieved architectural precision that modern engineers still study today. Every single fact in this video is documented, verified, supported by archaeological evidence and peer-reviewed academic research. This history is real. These empires existed, and the story of human civilization is incomplete without them. Now you know the part of the story that most people will never hear. This is the Vaulted Facts, where the truth is always stranger than what you were taught. Subscribe now and come back smarter every single day.